Good morning. My name is Dr. Tom Rivera, and I'm the director for the Oral History Project for South Colton. My partner is crime, Mr. Frank Acosta, who's behind the camera and taping this session for us. Today, we are at the Fowle Library at Cal State San Bernardino, and it's approximately 9:30 on October the 3rd. October the 3rd is the date today, and we're on the fourth floor of the library. And our guest today is Mr. Alfonso Garcia. Alfonso Hok Lee, also known as Hok Lee Garcia. Welcome to Cal State this morning, and thank you very much for being with us today and helping with the Oral History Project. Truly appreciate that, Hok Lee. Now, why don't we get started with the interview? Do you mind? Should I call you Alfonso or should I call you Hok Lee?
Well, it's up to you.
Okay.
Right,
Does it make
right
it?
here. That makes
Okay.
a difference.
All right. I'll call you Hok Lee then.
Okay.
All right. Hok Lee, tell us, where were you born and raised in Colton?
Yes, I was.
When were you born?
July, July the 6th, 1929.
Uh-huh. And what part of Colton were you raised?
I was raised mostly, I can remember, South Colton on Maple Street, 449 Maple Street.
And that was La Calle Cinco Barrio,
Oh,
¿verdad?
yeah.
That was the Calle Cinco
all
Barrio.
Fifth Street, yeah.
Yeah, and very famous barrio because you not only had, you were close to the railroad there,
Railroad.
but also many of the people that lived in that area worked for the Colton Cement Plant.
Right.
And you mentioned that your dad worked for the Colton Cement
Yeah, he
Plant.
worked there for many, many years.
Uh-huh.
At that time, you had to work about 40 years to get any place, I guess.
And did your dad, was your dad born and raised in Colton, or did he come from Arizona or New Mexico, or from Mexico?
He came from Mexico originally. Then, when he came from Mexico, he came to the United States, and in Ajo, Arizona, he worked there for a while. I don't know what, maybe construction or whatever. In Ajo, that's where he met my mother,
Okay.
Ajo, Arizona.
And they got married and came to Colton?
Okay, yeah,
Uh-huh.
Colton.
And they came to Colton in the 30s or so?
Well, yes, I can, let's see, I was born in 29, had to be 20s, I guess.
Okay.
No, wait, yeah, 20s.
Well, you mentioned that you had a picture, or you saw a picture of your dad when your dad was in uniform in the early 1900s.
Yes.
That he was in, but you can't remember which army he was.
He was in the service probably in Mexico.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But was he with the revolutionists, or was he with the government forces?
Government probably.
The government forces?
Yeah, because I would assume that because of his uniform.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm pretty sure that the revolutionaries, they didn't get uniform.
Yeah, the revolution, they started in 1910,
Yeah.
and if your father was in uniform, he could have possibly been with the government army.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, left the army and went to Ajo, Arizona, met your mom, and then they came to Colton.
Colton, yeah.
And where were you born? Were you born in Colton, or were you born in Arizona?
I was born in Colton,
In Colton, 1929?
1929.
And you mentioned that your dad started working at Portland Cement Plant
Yes.
right after that,
Mm-hmm.
and then that you lost your mom. Your mom passed away when you were 33 years old.
About 3 years old, yeah. She
Uh-huh.
passed away. I never knew her.
Uh-huh. And who raised you, Hok Lee?
Well, I had a little older sisters, Rosa, and Rosa was the oldest, and more or less because she was maybe 5 or 6 years older than me, and then some of the families around the neighborhood, they used to help me, feed me, take care of me when possible, I guess.
Well, you mentioned that one of your neighbors, I forget what the name that you mentioned, that she also helped you and she changed your diapers.
Oh, yeah. There used to be a Villalpando. We used to go across the street, and she would more or less change my diapers or whatever I had on me, because it was hard. It could be a part of a canvas, or it could be part of a blanket as a diaper. Anyway.
So you didn't have the modern diapers that we had.
No,
so,
had probably no money to buy them.
So that was 1929 or that? 1932 or so.
31, 32.
32. And you said you had two sisters,
Two sisters
two brothers,
and two brothers.
and then yourself.
Myself, I was the fifth.
Yeah. You were the baby?
I was a baby.
Can we
Okay.
get names?
What are the names? You said your sisters were Rosa and
Elena,
Elena, and your brother's name?
Robert, and Gilbert.
Robert and Gilbert. Are they still alive, Hok Lee?
No, all of them passed away. The last one was Gilbert. He died about good 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the last one of the family surviving.
And the parents' names?
And your mom and dad's name?
My dad was Encarnacion Garcia. My mom was Adelina Foster Garcia.
Mm. Now, did you have a family? Did you marry somebody from Colton or outside of Colton?
Yeah, I married Ruth Mascorro from Colton. And we had about four kids, two boys and two girls. And my oldest daughter died. The first one died when she was about 2-3 years old. And I had airline, and I had airline. I had 4 or 5 kids. I can't even remember their names now. They're gone. They've been gone for a long time.
Yeah. And then you also mentioned that you lost your wife recently.
Oh yeah. I lost my wife about 11 months ago.
Okay. So sorry, and our condolences to you.
Thank you.
Now, in your barrio, who were some of your friends that you grew up in the barrio? There's el barrio de Calle 5.
Okay. Well, Siki Abril, of the Abril family, Nico Leiva, the Aparicio family, Lucio, and we used to go to school with me, Lucio Aparicio, and family, was a big family. And then the Gutierrez lived next door to us. Vencho, he used to call him Vencho, his nickname, Gutierrez. Had a brother named Chendo. And Pablino Castro, the Castro family, because my sister married a Castro. My older sister, Rosa, married a Castro. They lived next door to us.
Now, you grew up with these friends?
Well, more or less I did.
Say? Yeah. And you went to school together?
Well, yeah, we went to school with Aparicio and Gutierrez and, well, Villalpandos, more or less.
And
people like
you
that.
went to Garfield Elementary School?
Garfield, and then graduated to Wilson,
Uh-huh.
from Wilson to the high school.
Yeah, and at Wilson School, what year were those? Were they the early 40s?
40, let's see.
44 or so?
44, yeah. No, I graduated, because I graduated from high school in 48,
Uh-huh, so 40, yeah.
4 years difference.
Uh-huh. And when you graduated from Wilson, you went to Colton High School?
Yes.
And you graduated from Colton High School in 1948?
48.
Yeah. You mentioned one incident at Colton High School that you got caught playing hooky. Can you tell us about that?
Uh, tell you the truth, I can't remember offhand. I can't remember right now. But we got caught. We used to take off, go to school in the morning, and somebody would bring up the subject. Just go over there to have a milkshake or something, someplace, or have a soda. And we start dropping off school. Okay, we'll meet at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. And we'll go from there. But I didn't do it very often because my father would spank me if I ever found out. Give me that riot act. The other ones didn't care too much.
Yeah. And what did you guys do when you played hooky?
Well, play, go uptown, and just roam around. That's all we used to do.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
At that time, we couldn't go uptown too much because they were kind of prejudiced. They didn't want us up there in the town because we used to live in South Coast,
Uh-huh.
North Side. They were kind of prejudiced. We go up there.
So if they caught you downtown Colton, what would happen?
Well, the police would come over and say, "You guys don't belong here." That means go south.
So they chased you back home?
Yeah,
They
chase us
chased you
back
back
home.
home? Yeah. Now, when you were growing up in there on Maple Street, in Little Barrio Calle Cinco, and you guys would get together in elementary school, what kind of activities did you have? What kind of recreation activities did you
At the
guys?
school or
There at the neighborhood.
baseball, softball in the street. Just roam around, I guess, back and forth. But like I
How about
said,
escondidas? Did you have
oh,
hide and
hide and
seek?
go seek. Yeah, we used to
Yeah.
have that. So hide and go seek at night. And
So at night, it must have been a fairly safe place.
yeah, it was because it was just neighbors. Been there for years.
Uh-huh.
There was no cars coming down, racing down the street, nothing like that. Nobody had a car at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people had cars at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah. What about other activities that you did? Did you build the scooters or?
Yeah, they used to get those little old, from the old skates,
Uh-huh.
the wheels, we used to make little carritos, they call them carritos,
Uh-huh.
with a board in the bottom and
A 2x4 at the
Yeah,
bottom where it nailed the
and
skates on
nail
there.
the skates in the bottom. There were very few, because very few had skates to start with,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes we would find them. Or go to the dump. We used to go to the dump too. Dump on
O Street.
O Street, clear down there. We used to find little things, junk. Oranges were frozen oranges. They used to throw a lot of frozen oranges at that time, bring them home.
So anyway, from Maple Street, which is about 5 blocks, going east on O Street, at the end of O Street was the dump, ¿verdad? Yeah, at the end of
Yeah,
O Street,
okay,
was
yeah.
a dump. And then you guys would go there from the Calle Cinco, you'd
Yeah.
go all the way to the dump. And there it was heaven because you had oranges that the
Orange.
people with the packing house would throw away.
Were frozen, and mostly they were frozen because at that time they didn't have too many control over the weather.
Uh-huh.
They had smash spots, but there was orchards all over the place.
Uh-huh.
Like right now it's houses.
Yeah.
There was orchards at that time.
And then you'd go through whatever was dumped at the dump, and you would find goodies.
Goodies, oh yeah, sometimes find goodies or junk, to go sell junk.
Like
Goodies,
junk.
junk, go sell it to the scrap iron place.
So you would pick iron and
Yeah.
collect iron
Yeah,
and sell it to the junk man.
yeah, junk,
Yeah.
we,
What about the rags, también?
there were rags at that time too, but there wasn't that many rags
Uh-huh.
because they didn't throw rags, too many rags in the dump. But we pick up anything that we think we could sell later on, especially the junk. The junk man will come every Saturday,
Uh-huh,
and we had enough just to go to the show,
uh-huh,
10 cents. At that time, they charged 10 cents a show.
uh-huh.
No tax, no tax. Tax didn't come in until later. So 10 cents.
What show was that?
The show was a new Cone Theater, and later on, the Hub City came on. Another theater came on,
Uh-huh.
and then, of course, at that time, we had to sit on one side of the show. We couldn't sit on one side. The
Which-
white people
what-
would sit on one side.
What side were Mexicans allocated to?
The left-hand side as you go in to the new cone. To sit there, and that's about it.
Uh-huh,
And then the white one will sit on our right-hand side.
uh-huh,
And eventually, we start mixing up a little bit,
mhm,
and then they cut it off.
uh-huh.
So, and you can sit any place you want to.
Do you remember when the segregation was lifted, where you could just go ahead and sit any place you wanted to? Was
Well,
it in the 50s?
50s, gradually, like I say, gradually, we didn't know too much about segregation at that time. We knew we had to sit over that, but the word segregation didn't come on until later on.
Uh-huh.
It just, you have to sit on that side, that's it.
So that's the way it was, and that's the way it was?
That's the way
Okay.
it was.
Uh-huh,
We knew our place, let's put it that way.
uh-huh, uh-huh. And knowing your place means that everything was, people in Colton, everybody in Colton understood that, really?
Yeah,
Everybody understood that.
everybody used to live south of the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, it just started changing little by little. There used to be a ice cream parlor there, Hunters. We used to go there and get cones, ice cream cones. And of course, they stare at you like, what are you doing here? Buy cones for 5 cents or whatever it was. They used to, the people used to stare at us. Like, what are you guys doing over here? You know,
Like you don't belong here.
you don't
kind-
belong
Yeah.
here. And eventually,
So you knew you weren't welcome.
yeah,
Yeah,
white trade only.
yeah. Is that what it said?
It had a sign in the window, white trade only.
But did you get your ice cream?
Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
of course, they wanted the money, see,
yeah,
5 cents at that time.
uh-huh,
No cone for 5 cents.
uh-huh. Yeah. So, what other experiences did you run into so quickly? Because you mentioned they would chase you, when you played hooky, they would chase you from downtown Colton. And then the theaters, you had to sit on the left side.
Yeah.
What are the things that you experienced that was segregation, that we didn't know about it, but still, it was there?
Well, let's see.
How about the plunge?
Oh, the plancha, we couldn't swim in the plunge uptown because Caldera had his plunge down south, 5th Street. We used to go swimming there. And of course, it wasn't that good or that bad, but it was a swimming pool for us. But the north side, where the plunge was, we couldn't swim there because, you know, the prejudice against us. You guys don't belong here. One of those statements. Then sometimes we go to the Cuninos, Jeb Hill, they used to call it Jeb Hill, up on the hill. The canal, the irrigation canal will be there. We walk across the river just to go swimming there in summer.
Yeah.
And Cuninos on La Cadena down there used to be a canal too. We go swimming there.
Mhm.
That's
But
the-
mostly when you went to, the Caldera plunge was there,
yeah,
and it was
there.
close to your house.
Yeah,
It was only a couple of blocks from your house.
yeah, a couple
Yeah.
of blocks.
Yeah. Tell me about the Caldera plunge. Was it a big plunge or?
Well, it was fairly big. It was
Uh-huh.
fairly big.
Uh-huh.
And they used to sell candies and whatever. Of course, most of the time we never had even
Mhm.
a penny to buy anything.
Did they
Sometimes-
charge, did they charge for
Oh, yeah,
admission?
they charge, I guess, 10 cents for minors and 15 cents for adults or something like that.
No, you said that you used to help the son of Caldera clean the pool.
Yeah, later on, we used to help sweep because they drain the water on a Thursday, and then we would go help clean it, scrub the walls, some of the
Uh-huh.
walls were, what do you call that green stuff that hangs around the green.
The algae, huh?
Algae. Yeah, we used to clean some of that and just like ordinary, just cleaning up and a little bit. And they would give us one or two free entrance to the canal, to the
The
swimming.
plunge, huh?
Yeah, free. That's why we used to do it, because we didn't have any money
Uh-huh,
to pay 10, 15 cents
uh-huh,
just to go swimming
uh-huh.
at that time.
And you said you helped, what was the name of the son of Caldera's son?
Oh, there was Trini Caldera and Agustin Caldera.
Uh-huh.
He used to, and Juanito, I think, would have another son, Juanito. He used to help too. He was the youngest of the Caldera.
Mhm.
Patrini was the oldest.
And did they also have, I understand that they also had a dance hall, Caldera
Oh,
Hall.
yeah. Yeah, they used to have a dance. Oh, Caldera, at one time, the men had a planche, had a dance hall, the cops, I think they call it. Then they had a enclosure there. Once in a while, they had bullfights.
Ah,
They say they had bullfights from
Uh-huh.
Mexico.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
but they had a bull
Bullfights, like
ring, eh?
little rodeo, something like that.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
He used to have that. He was kind of, the man was kind of had 2, 3 things going all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go in free sometime because my dad would play the cornet and the little band they had there. So I would go in free. Because I didn't have 10 cents to pay or whatever to go in.
What about did they have a baseball field there too?
Oh, yeah, I had a baseball field where across the street from El Salvador Grammar School is right now. They used to have a baseball field down there. To the cops, I think they call. Used to call the cops. And like I said, they used to play every Sunday. There was a big lot of attendance because there was nothing else to do.
So a lot of people from South Colton would go to the Caldera
with the other
properties to
Property.
entertain themselves and
Yeah.
recreate themselves.
recreate, yeah,
And you were lucky because you lived around the corner,
around the corner.
and you helped clean, so you got
Yeah.
in free. Or your dad
Would give me 10 cents.
would play there
Yeah,
at the
play there.
dance hall, and you get in free. But you had it made, Hok Lee.
Yeah, I had it made a little
You
bit.
had it made. Yeah.
I remember my dad used to give me, sometimes give me a quarter. You know, my friend once I said, he had a big family and his dad used to work at cement plant too. I guess he never had any money at that time and, come on, let's go over there to the show. I invited him to the show. I ain't got no money. Oh, I got a quarter. At that time they used to charge 10 cents a piece. And we had 5 cents left for a soda or something.
So
Like good old days.
So you were a good guy then.
Yeah.
You've always been a good guy, eh?
Yeah, because my dad would give me money, yeah,
Uh-huh.
quarter, 50 cents.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now, Hok Lee, you, after graduating from high school, you got sick.
Yeah,
Tell us about your illness.
well, I had TB. I had TB. I was in the county hospital, the old county hospital, for about 9 months. And then later on, I started working for the schools. I was all right. Well, I've been actually all right since that time. And I was hired by the schools to be a custodian there,
But before that, you spent 9 months at county hospital.
county hospital.
What kind of treatment did you get for your TB?
Just, at that time, just shots once in a while. That was it. There was too much. Rest was the main thing.
Uh-huh.
Rest,
And then you left the hospital
yeah.
after 9 months.
Yeah, my dad was working at the cement plant,
Uh-huh.
so I just stayed home. I didn't do anything.
Uh-huh.
I had to run to the store, across the tracks. I could go buy anything I wanted at 7th store, Esperanza. Because I could buy anything. My dad had a counter. I could buy anything, so
So your house was,
falling down.
was just across the railroad track from
Yeah.
Esperanza Market, and your dad had credit at the
Credit
Esperanza
there.
Market, and you took advantage of that credit.
Yeah. Not that I didn't overdo it, but I just to stay alive, because like I said, I could buy anything I wanted.
Uh,
Usually, my meals were eggs in the morning, bologna at noon, taco bologna or bread bologna, and at night I would buy a piece of meat and cook it myself. But my dad would be working or doing other things at that time, so I would cook. And we were one of the first ones to have gas in our neighborhood. We
What
had
year
a
was
gas
that?
stove.
What year was that, Oakley?
Oh, I graduated in '48, so it must have been the '40s.
That you had the first gas stove in the
Gas
neighborhood?
stove. Everybody had at first we had a wooden stove, of course,
Uh-huh.
but later on we were the only ones that had a gas stove in the neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
So it was easy for me.
Uh-huh.
Just turn the light, turn it on. Sometimes it wouldn't light, you get a match
Uh-huh.
light.
What about indoor plumbing?
Well, just enough for water till you could wash the dishes
At the sink?
in the sink. Had a
Uh-huh.
little, it was just a table with pans and get the water there. If you needed hot water, you would get one of the pans with the water, put it in the stove, heat it up, wash the dishes.
Uh-huh.
That was it.
Uh-huh.
That time, of course,
What about bathing?
oh, we used to, in summer, I used to bathe outside because with a hose and a can of Hills Brothers coffee, put a lot of hopes in there. We had like a shower
Uh-huh.
outside in summer.
Uh-huh.
But in winter, we had to heat the water inside and in a tub, take a shower there.
In Latina, eh?
Latina,
In Latina,
Latina.
yeah. What about outdoor facilities like the outhouse? Do you have an
Well,
outhouse?
outhouse, we used to have an outhouse, and every so much we had to dig another hole to change the outhouse to another place, cover this up, cover the old one. The newspaper, the toilet paper was newspaper.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. So it was, what can I say? You do with what you had.
Yes.
You do with what you had. Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you started working for the school district. When did you start working for the school district? About a few years after high school? Or
After high school.
about 5 years afterwards? Or?
I know, 48, 50, about 51 I think I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get the job? Did you apply or?
Well, somebody mentioned that they were hiring or something, and I went to apply. I think I walk over there, or I can't even remember where the junior high was there. The junior high was just starting. It was being built or something like that.
There was 53, 54.
53, yeah. And I went over there, and Bailey was I think Bailey was superintendent.
Uh-huh.
And, well, I got the job and this and that. I just applied,
Was it Wingard Bailey or Paul Rogers?
well, Paul Rogers was he was at that time from being a principal at Wilson, he went to the main office, and eventually he became superintendent. And Bailey, I think, was second in command, because when Rogers retired or something, Bailey took over.
So you applied.
And then they interviewed me and blah, 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 and so you start working, Karen, can you start? Well, anytime, man. Okay, start here Monday. I worked at the Cone Junior High. The Cone Junior High was immune too, more or less,
So that must have been in 54 then.
54.
Yes. And you worked there and you were a custodian?
custodian there. There for about, good 8 years. And then they moved me around.
Were you there when Robert Rosales started working at the
Yeah.
junior high?
He was just starting, I think.
Okay.
Or he came in later. And then they moved me. I
There was
went to
There was a Glover?
Gene Glover. Gene, yeah. You remember that?
Yes.
Yo, chubby guy. He came from, he thought he was a ladies' man. At that time, he thought he was a ladies' man. He used to go, the teachers.
And then from junior high school, what school did you go to?
They changed me to, I worked there 6 years. They changed me to Ellis Burney. I think Ellis Burney. I worked there for a little while. Then they moved me again to Washington School. I worked there. Then gradually I went back. They moved me again. Then at the end of my career, I was at Wilson. At the end of my career at Wilson School. Garfield Wilson, they used to call it.
Uh-huh.
Was Chester Slepsky at Washington when you were there?
Slepsky. I remember the name.
He was,
He was like a coach, wasn't he, or something like that?
he might have been a principal at.
Oh, principal.
at
No,
Bernie-
I never had him.
Bernie or at Washington?
Yeah, he was at Bernie, I think. Then he went to the junior high or something. Slepsky, I remember that name. Junior. Yeah. Yeah, I will say the good old days.
And so how long when did you retire, Hok Lee?
Oh, I retired in, when I was 62 years old. I'm 85.
Oh, a
Right
long
now.
time,
Yeah,
23 years ago.
23 years ago.
Uh-huh. And here I thought you retired a few years ago. Like you said, time goes by quickly.
Yeah.
Now, how was it, how was working with the schools back in those days, Hok Lee? Was it easier? Was it, were the people, the teachers different? How were the teachers? How did they relate with you guys?
The teachers that were real nice were the ones that, to me, kept the room clean. And the teachers that weren't, they were sloppy, you know, one of those paper on the floor and blah, 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 you know. And they, like teachers would, especially when it was raining, there was no grass, nothing like that. One of the teachers would put a mat out there and shake your feet before you come in. And the other didn't care, they'd just go in, mud all over the place.
Mhm,
And then
mhm,
when you start sweeping like that. But as a rule, they were real, to me, they were real all right. I never had too much problem with them.
What about the kids, Hok Lee? You know, were the kids better behaved back then, or were they? Was there a difference when later on before you retired?
Over there wasn't too much hassle. There wasn't too much hassle, but they more or less, of course there was fights in between. I mean, the Spanish speaking, we're used to having white guys, you know, all together. So there was a couple of fights there, but there wasn't too much hassle. And then,
You said that the gringos and the Mexicans had some misunderstandings.
misunderstanding.
No, is this at the junior high school or some of the other
It's a
schools?
junior high.
Uh-huh.
It's a junior high because that's the only. See, at that time there wasn't too many Mexicans on the north side of Cuba. There were just white people living over there.
Mhm.
All the Mexicans were on the south side. There are a few in between there, but not many. Like right now, it's full of it.
Yeah.
I got a lot of relatives who are living over there,
Uh-huh.
and so it was like that.
So, before 1953, all the Mexicans lived in South Colton and all the gringos lived in North Colton.
North Colton, yeah.
And then when we got them together at the junior high school, there was some misunderstanding.
Oh yeah, naturally, yeah.
Yeah.
It was an understanding.
Uh-huh. And you mentioned, my question was, now that we have changes, you know, changes in population, the kids that go to school now. The majority of the kids now are Mexican, really.
Oh, yes, they
Uh-huh.
are. They are now. Oh, boy, it's very few that, see, myself, I got relatives on the north side, nephews, cousins or whatever. And sometimes I stand there and I see all just Mexicans coming out of school. One lives by the Cone Junior High, one of my nieces, and then on the other side, my sister lives by the, what's a grant school? Or no, one of the schools, grammar schools,
Rogers,
Rogers.
Paul
Yeah.
Rogers.
They see Mexicans, that's all we see.
Yeah. Yeah,
They just say, we're taking over.
um,
That's what they say.
so now what happened, Oakley, is that, I guess the transition of buying houses in North Colton took place when they integrated the schools. But that was 53, 54, 55.
Yeah.
And then you had the World War II veterans coming back home, and then with the GI Bill and veterans loan, they bought houses in
Boat
North
houses,
Colton.
or we had houses built, yeah,
Uh-huh.
that helped a lot. Because a lot of them, I'm pretty sure that they had run down, they had run down houses before they went to the service. But like you say, they came over and they started building houses or buying houses.
So the GI loans helped buy the new houses in North
Oh, yeah.
Colton. Uh-huh.
Helped a lot.
Uh-huh. So, tell me, but the kids are kids, I guess. They haven't changed in attitude. Did you see them different when you started working in 53, 54, up until when you retired?
Well, gradually they started acting more cordial or more quiet. Because at first it's like we're coming in and nobody's going to tell us anything, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then gradually it's kind of slow. Everything was more quiet,
Mellowed out?
mellow out, and they didn't. Of course, there's always braggers, you know, braggers or troublemakers. But as a rule, everything kind of evened up. To me, they did. Because they see you, they used to see me at school at State of Broad. They said, "Oh, Oakley, how are you?" And I must say, "Who's that man? Who's that man?" "Oh, he works for the school." Oh, okay.
Oh, so you had a good
Yeah,
relationship with
I
the
had
kids
I had good relation with the kids,
and the teachers?
the teachers too.
Uh-huh.
I used to, well, the kids knew me, the parents knew me. "Oh, I know him." Things like that. I still do. They were real cordial after a
Uh-huh,
while.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Now, how many Mexicans worked for the school district when you first started? Were you the first one, or?
No, there was quite a few. I mean, not that many, but to say there was, I'm just saying, 5, 6, something like that.
And Ralph Martinez?
Raul Martinez, one of the first ones. And who else was one of the... I never worked with Ralph, but I know he was working for the
Mhm.
schools. And that's about it. I can't remember that many. And that the Cone Junior High one, there was a Don Sharp. His dad used to work for the high school, and he got a job there. He's a head custodian. He was real good. He originally, I guess that family came from Oklahoma or something, but he treated me real good. I mean, he never was prejudiced. To me, he wasn't prejudiced
Mhm.
like a lot of them did. They don't even talk to you, or they don't want to sit next to you or something like that.
Now, who didn't want to sit next to you?
No, people didn't. You go to the show, they didn't want to sit next to you, you know. or they neglect you.
Mhm.
Good morning. And they look at you and, okay. You know, things like that. People like that. As a rule, I had pretty good, my life, I had pretty good relations, and I didn't have no problems. They were minor ones, nothing serious, like somebody try to beat me up or something like that. No.
Now, talking about beating up, we had the Fiestas Patrias.
Yeah.
Uh, was your dad ever involved with the Fiestas Patrias, or you involved with the Fiestas Patrias, or did you just enjoy the Fiestas Patrias?
Well, my dad was a cornet player. Him and Arturo Castorena and Gonzalo Vasquez used to play the cornet or the blah blah blah, and they used to have a little drum and bugle corps. Couple of girls, tap tap, with the drums. You
Uh-huh.
know. That was my, and that was my musical career. My dad used to practice at home once in a while,
Uh-huh.
blow the horn, and people would come play because he was making noise. So, but besides that, that was more or less my concern. And I used to go. They used to have where Circle K is right now. They used to have the stage there.
Oh, that's the corner of 8th and N Street.
Yeah, they used to have that deal there. For the story, they used to have the stage there. They had a booth around it. My dad would give me a whole dollar to buy things. At that time it was 10 cents, 11 cents. Then they started collecting with tax. It wasn't 10 cents or 11 cents. Oh, big deal, you know. Still remember that.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I would invite some of my friends that didn't have money. Yeah, I'll buy you a snow cone. I got no money. I'll buy you one. I got money. You know, 10 cents.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Big money. You know.
So the Fiestas Patrias was just kind of a recreation for you.
Recreation and then
Uh-huh. And your dad played for the Fiestas
but
Patrias.
yeah, Coronet,
Uh-huh.
Gonzalo, Vasquez, and there was some drummers there.
Uh-huh.
I used to play. That was about it.
Yeah.
Then they have the regular band, of course. Delgadillo had a band. Emilio Delgadillo had a band. He used to be a teacher in musical instruments. And he would have a group that they would play there, like the American Legion. I mean the national anthem and the Mexican national anthem, like that. And they would have after the stage deal, they would have a dance, you know, around the stage. They clear all the chairs out and then they play for the people, dancing people there.
So it was a big fiesta.
Oh, yeah.
16 de septiembre
Yeah, it was a big
big
deal.
fiesta. They had queens that rent
Queens.
for, or girls that rent for queen,
Yeah,
and they sold tickets.
sold tickets. The one that sold more tickets was the winner.
Uh-huh.
I remember Monica Alba is a queen. She married Rudy Alba. She was a nice, beautiful girl. Monica Alba. I remember that. And other ones that I can't remember offhand.
And then after they presented the queens, introduced the queens,
But
they had the program on 16 de septiembre.
yeah,
Father Hidalgo de Costilla
de Costilla.
leading the battle against the Spanish, and then after that they would have the dance.
The dance.
Uh-huh.
I still remember too, they used to go around the whole neighborhood. The queen, and somebody had a truck. They had trucks where you take the orange pickers to work.
Uh-huh.
They would kind of decorate a little bit. They had the queen up there, the whole neighborhood, up and down the street.
So they had a
And then
parade.
and
They had a
then little
parade.
band, Delgadillo,
Uh-huh.
making noise, you know, so people would come out and, oh, there's the queen.
Uh-huh. So they had a parade.
Yeah, I had a little parade there.
Uh-huh. Talking about orange trucks, orange pickers trucks, What did people do for a living back then, when you were in the 30s, when you were growing up? Where did people work?
Well, mostly it was it was citrus. A lot of people would go up north to work up in Fresno, whatever. A lot of people would go up there. There was a survival. They go in, as soon as it was out, they go up summer, Fresno, up north. They would come back and have a little money, buy clothes for the kids or whatever. And that's what then the cement came on and started hiring Mexican people, I guess, at the cement plant. And the PFE, when cement on the cars, freight cars, things like that. It was the main deal there. The cement plant and the PFE was the main place of employment there.
And the
at one time.
citrus.
And the citrus, of
Uh-huh.
course. They go from oranges to grape to anything that men would, any job they could find, make a little money, because most of them have one or two kids. They have 4 or 5 kids, so they had to eat. So that was it. That was about it.
Uh-huh. Now, you mentioned that you worked before you worked for the school district, you worked for CalDEC.
Caldec.
Now, what was CalDEC?
Where was it?
What was it?
Well, we just, what was it? They used to make, I'm going to tell you the truth, I can't even remember. I worked there for a little while. But everybody worked at CalDEC. Something minor that they could assemble there. What was it?
TV trays?
TV trays, something like that. They would have something like that.
So it was just, oh, there's Henry. There's Henry. Anyway, let me go to my notes. Also, Hok Lee, you mentioned that you had credit at the Esperanza Market.
Yeah.
Where did most of the people from South Colton do their shopping?
Grocery shopping or uptown shopping?
Grocery shop. Let's talk about grocery shopping.
Well, they had Esperanza,
Cervantes,
Cervantes, Martinez,
Rodriguez.
then they used to have what was the other one? Boca Negra on 5th Street. There
Well,
was
tell me about Bocanegra and Fifth Street. You were there. You lived there.
Yeah.
And also, Reese had a liquor store there.
Oh, Jimmy Reese.
Yes.
Jimmy Reese, yeah.
Tell me about those two places.
Well, Jimmy Reese was kind of crippled, the man. And he had the little liquor store there. And he had a lot of business because all the people would go by there. Like my dad used to go there after the cement plant where they'd buy their beer there and then go up the hill and guzzle it down. And then around with Alizarde, Pablino Castro, and all they drink just about every day, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Quarts. Not expected at quarts.
At the Bocanegra grocery
Boca
store?
Negra, the man and his wife, and I think Bertha, had a daughter named Bertha.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
She-
Bertha and Trini?
Trini or Lou. He got in the wrong side of tracks.
Right.
Yeah.
But they were there for a long time.
Oh yeah, there was a business right there on 5th Street. Had all the business of all the people around there.
Uh-huh.
Boca Negra. But up at 7th Street, there was about 2-3 stores. Then, as you go on Ann Street, before you go to the tracks, Aguilera had a store down the bottom. Aguilera. And eventually they moved to Mount Vernon's in San Bernardino. Aguilera had a store there. And Esteban, by the tracks too, on the other side. Then they had Martinez, where they used to make the Mexican bread.
Uh-huh.
And then Tucker came up later on. And Lala Morales, by the church there, where Hollywood used to live,
Mhm.
next to Hollywood's house. All the little stores.
What about La Paloma? What stores did they have
Oh,
there?
the Paloma was there. This, at one time, I don't remember who opened that store. And that, at that time, no, I couldn't remember who owned that store, Paloma. But they had a store, they had no business there because all the people started going to 7th Street, they would shop there. Yeah, but I can't remember, who was that man? I can't remember.
Mhm. Yeah, and you mentioned 7th Street.
7th Street.
They had they had bars, they had
Oh,
restaurants.
yeah, they had the Sombrero, Sarape, Bolero, and what else? Club Trinidad. He later came on late. Club Trinidad had a bar there. It was next to more or less to us. Yamas had his little liquor store at the corner there. On 7th, 10th, and
And the
7th.
pool hall also.
Pool hall. There's a pool hall there. It was,
The barber shop, Ornelas.
oh, Nerlas had a barber shop too.
Yeah.
The building's still there.
Uh-huh.
I get I go to High Grove, get a haircut at his son's barber shop.
Adam.
Adam, I go to Adam's.
Adam Ornelas' barber shop in
Yeah.
High Grove.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
still there. I go there. In fact, I'm due to go there.
Uh-huh. So that was the grocery shop. What about clothing and shoes and things like that?
Well, there was this people that would come and sell. They would come from I don't know where. Mostly they were. I was not to be prejudiced, but I think they were Jewish people. Used to come and sell clothes with their cars full of pants, shirts, and whatever. They go to the neighborhood and sell clothes until later on.
What year was this, Oakley, that you remember?
Ooh,
Was it the 30s when you were a little kid?
30s, 30s, early 30s, early 40s. They used to come over and sell until the man made a store, opened a store in one of the guys that had a store up north side. He opened a store there. What was his name?
Hellman?
No, Hellman was uptown. Uptown was Hellman and Willis. And J.C. Penney across the street. But down south, what was the man of the store? He was a Jew. I knew he was Jewish. But he had a store there. My dad would trade there too. He would give credit, so
Uh-huh.
buy your clothes there.
Uh-huh.
I had my wardrobe, 2 pairs of pants and about 2 shirts, and about 2 pairs of socks. My wardrobe.
So you were rich?
I was rich.
You were rich.
A lot of them didn't have any.
I know. That's why I
Like,
say you were
they go to
rich.
school,
Yeah.
pobrecitos. They didn't have anything. One set of clothes, and that's it. No sweater. And it was cold when they go like it to school. I
Yeah.
still remember that.
Well, your friends that were that didn't have clothes,
Yeah.
sweaters. Yeah.
They didn't have more money to go to the show. They charged 10 cents. But my dad, every payday would give me 25 cents. And I would invite Juan Salceda, especially. His dad used to work at a cement plant, but I guess he ignored them or something. And I would say, let's go to the show. I ain't got no money. I got a quarter. Let's go to the show. Charge 10 cents.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes he would have 5 or 10, 15 cents. And we would buy a bag of popcorn.
Uh-huh.
We were in heaven.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes we had more money. We had a soda too. We share a soda.
And you were growing up during the time where Colton was segregated. Eh?
Yeah.
There was North Colton, there was South
North
Colton. Now, when did people start getting involved in politics in Colton? And do you remember who the leaders were back then, hopefully, that were running for office or wanting people to register to vote? Who were some of the leaders that back then?
The first man that I can remember that became a councilman was Jeremias. Remember Jeremias?
The boxer.
The boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a councilman at that time. I guess he was one of the first ones.
Okay.
He was the first one there.
Johnny Martinez, ¿verdad?
Gianni Martinez, yeah. Everybody called him Jeremias. That was his nickname.
Uh-huh.
He was a boxer. And he lived in South Side by the Garfield School, to a two-story house there. And later on,
Well, let's go back to this two-story house. Across the street from Garfield, the two-story house on the corner of Congress and 7th Street?
7th Street.
Oh, that was his. That was his family's.
Yeah, his family
Okay.
lived there.
There used to be a little grocery store lots of years before then. I guess you wouldn't know because you were too young. Yeah. But there used to be a grocery store before that. But anyway, he was the first person to be on the council.
Uh-huh.
And then who else was some of the other leaders of Oakley?
Meño Padilla, the 6th of September, Meño Padilla, and
He was 16th of September.
he was in that committee, the
Uh-huh.
Trabajadores Unidos or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Meño
How about the
Padilla.
Congress of Community Clubs?
Yeah, Congress Community Clubs. What was the name of that lady? Just lives in the about 2 houses up where I live. She was real active.
B. Hernandez?
B. Hernandez. She was in charge too of that of the Lucky Center. She had an office there too. She was in charge of something in the county or
Uh-huh,
city
uh-huh.
deal.
Who were the other people that you remember that ran for office or who were active in trying to get people to participate in community activities?
Cisneros, those are Cisneros. Marina's dad.
Marina's dad is
Remember
Marina Vidauri now.
Vidari.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and she's
Vidauri.
she was Cisneros. She lived at the end of East End Street.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot the father's name, but yeah, the last name was Cisneros.
Cisneros.
Yeah.
Well, he was really active there with his little
What
club.
about Pete Lukey Sr.?
Oh, Pete Lucas Sr. también. That's when he started. Then he was elected to the city council later on. Pete Lucas. He was all dressed. He always dressed up. He was always to me, he always like he had a suit. And he used to be the announcer for the Mercury Club, softball and hardball.
On Sundays.
On Sundays.
Uh-huh.
At the park, South Home Park.
What about Pascual Oliva?
Oh, Pascual Oliva became a councilman later on. After the war, Second World War, he became a councilman. I used to hang around with 2 of his brothers,
Uh-huh.
Meño and Val. Both of them died already. I used to hang around. In fact, a lot of people used to hang around that house. Dona Marina was there, the mother. She had about 6, 7 sons. Everybody had a little gathering, brothers. Rudy's still alive. 5 or 6 would come and visit him. And I go with Meño, another 5 or 6 would. And then Chito La Rosa and Lacua, Pascual, Lacua. He had his group. They would go to a dance at San Bernardino.
At the Valley Ballroom?
Valley Ballroom. See who they would always, they didn't like, people from San Bernardino didn't like people from Cone. They would be fighting sometimes there. Yeah, that was the good old days. Everybody used to hang around that house. Sometimes there'd be about 30, 40 people out there.
So
Just-
the
just
Oliva
Oliva.
family was very popular.
Yeah, it was very popular.
Very popular. That's why they were
Yeah.
actively involved
Yeah,
in city activities and politics. And even now, they're still involved.
yeah.
Even now, they're still involved. Yeah.
All of them became real active, quiet, friendly to me. Friendly.
And how have things changed in Colton, Oakley? From when you were a little kid, you were born in 1929, and now we're in 2014, 2000. How
Don't
have-
make me younger.
How have things changed in Colton, Oakley?
Well, there's more, to me, there's more participation of us, Mexican Americans or whatever you call it, Chicanos, into the politics or businesses or something like that.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah, they're more active now. Some time ago, I used to be afraid or they'd be refused, which they would. A lot of them were refused. No, you can't open this. No, we have one already. Things like that. Still remember that.
So the changes that you see now is that we and our kids have better opportunities in participating.
Sure do. Yeah, we do. We
Uh-huh.
do. I tell my grandkids that. My nephews, my nieces that are younger. You can do that. No, they won't. You, but try it. Go there, try it. Go someplace or do something. Try it. Go there. Open your mouth and tell them something.
So the big change that you see is the attitude.
The attitude, yeah.
The attitude, because when you and I were raised in Colton, we thought that we couldn't do it because that's the way it was.
That's the way it was.
That's the way it
For
was.
years it
You
was
can't
like that.
change. And now you have a different attitude that que si se puede.
Yeah, they separate.
Uh-huh.
But you know what? That I noticed? I'm a cruiser. I like to cruise the streets of the north side. I got my sister. Anyway, I got a relative north side. I like to once in a while, I go up and down the streets. And I know a lot of people that used to live in South Coast.
Uh-huh.
If I know them, I stop and talk with them for a little while. Blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? Cruising. Cruising. You're wasting gas. Who cares? I can't take it with me. So I go up and down the streets. Oh, I know this guy or I know these people. I stop there and talk to them. Because I used to live in South Coast, see, a long time ago. I do that all the time. I go, my sister lives on the north side with one of her daughters. I got a nephew, nieces. You know Romy de la Rosa?
See,
Well, he's related to he's married to my niece. So I stop there occasionally, talk to him. Whatever he is, that's his life. Anyway, so I thought, how you doing? All right, yeah, all right. But a little conversation, and my little nephews are there or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Then I'll see you later. Where you going? Go visit your mom over there. So I go visit I always take her puerquito, Mexican
oh
bread,
yes,
puerquito.
next thing, yeah,
I always take her
sweet
there.
bread, yeah.
She's diabetic, see, and she's 90 years old, and she's always, and I take her a banana or something. Sugar-free, it's sugar-free. Oh, okay. I'll drink it with my coffee. And then she tells my niece, look what Uncle brought, they call Uncle. Look what Uncle brought me. They know already, yeah.
Well, talking about marranitos, cochinitos,
Los
the
puerquitos,
pig, yeah,
puerquitos,
los puerquitos.
semas.
Do you still like bologna sandwiches or
I eat
bologna?
bologna. I always buy bologna, the thick one. In emergencies at my house, bologna is get 2 breads, a little lettuce. I got a sandwich. Forget the tomato, too much trouble. Just get a little lettuce, put a little meat in it.
So bologna is the
I always buy bologna.
your filet mignon at its beginning. Eh? Yeah. Also, you were talking about attitudes that there's a different attitude in Colton now of things changing. I mentioned to you, Oakley, that you asked me how many kids do we have here at the university, and I said, about 50-60%. And you smiled and your eyes were bright, and you said, "That's great." Why did you say that?
Because for a fact, education can help others. That's my philosophy. I don't like dropouts. I never liked dropouts, which I had some in my family, dropout, younger nephews and nieces. How come you quit school? Uh, they get lazy. That's the trouble. Lazy. I don't tell them. Sometimes I tell them, see, I got 4 generations of nephews and nieces in Cone, the neighborhood. You know, Rialto, whatever. Anyway, I tell them that. Why do you drop out of school for? Well, I mean, they're not like they have to go to work. They just want something. Well, I'm going to drop out so I can get a job and buy a car. Okay. I just mentioned it to them. Huh? One of these days you're going to need it. Well, no, okay. I don't argue with them. I just tell them, get your education. I tell them. When they,
So you're a firm believer on people or kids getting educated?
yeah, I was, yeah, because we never had the chance. Now they have a chance. Do it. Get a chance. You got a chance to get a good job, get a good marriage. You have a good house, car, kids, whatever. But now if you're not going to get any job. I know this for a fact. I got nephews, druggies. They used to be druggies, okay? It's affecting them right now. In fact, their health
Mm-hmm.
affected. Where is he? He's lying in bed. He's been sick. They're older now, 50 years old. Used to be druggies. That time.
So one of the things that happened in changing, things that changed in Colton was kids getting involved with narcotics
Yeah.
or the alcohol or dropping out of school. And that was not a benefit to the community.
No.
Yeah.
Like most of my nephews and nieces are drinkers. They drink beer.
Mhm.
Most of them drink beer. It's a party, they drink beer, you know. You go to the store, you want a beer? Nah, not right now, or whatever. I haven't
So-
drank in about 20, 30 years, something like that.
So there was a culture of beer drinking in the community then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
At that time it was quarts.
so hopefully things have changed, or have things changed?
Well, to me, a little bit. They change. I mean, in my family, they have changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about recreation before, Oakley. We were talking about recreation, what you did for recreation. Remember Ray Abril, the scoutmaster?
Oh, yes.
And in his backyard, we'd go through the alley, and we would weight lift.
Yeah.
We would weight lift in the backyard of Ray
Backyard,
Abril.
yeah.
Yeah.
You,
And we had a big sign there, and we call it Willie's Gym.
uh-huh.
Well, Willie's Gym. And one of the things that I think I remember about you is that you would go into Willie's Gym and you would ask people, are you tight? Is that tight? Is that tight?
Yeah.
The last question, Oakley, the last question, and maybe you'll remember something else that we didn't discuss, but let me ask you our last question, is that what was the best thing about living in Colton? What was the best thing about living in Colton? What fond memories do you have about being a Coltonite and being raised in Colton?
Well, one thing about it that I have never liked big cities. Like Copenhagen, well, it has grown, but like you say, you still can relate to people. Oh, you go to the other cities, you don't know nobody, you don't know what's happening. Like I got a niece lives in Corona. She has 2 kids. She's a young one, second generation niece. She goes to my house all a lot of times. She comes over. Anyway, Corona has grown. I remember there used to be orchards, just orchards. See, houses all over the place. And there's no communication. Some people don't even know their neighbors.
Mm.
They don't know their neighbors.
But in Colton, you know everybody in South Colton
Yeah.
and North Colton.
Yeah,
And you have family in
you
Colton.
have family and You get acquainted with someone. Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah. Like I say, that's why I like something small. You can relate to people, or they wave to you at least, or something like that. Nowadays, they don't know nobody. You don't know nobody.
Yeah. Well, Hok Lee, did I miss anything? Is there anything that I missed that you would like to tell us about?
Let's see. Well, no.
Let me go through my notes.
Go through your notes here.
Yeah. Dances.
We
We talked about that. Theater.
Yeah.
We talked about. What about weddings and baptisms?
Oh. This is a long time ago. If you're
It
wedding.
must be good. It must be good.
No, long time ago. We were younger, of course. It's going to be a dance. Where? Free dance. Because of the wedding.
Oh,
we weren't
okay,
invited.
okay.
We go there to dance. Okay. Or if you know the people, they didn't invite you to the people. Maybe they'll give us something to eat. If they knew you, come and eat. You know, people are like, come and eat. We weren't invited to that. We go stand there and stare. Come in.
So weddings were great, eh?
Gallina con mole.
Uh-huh.
Most of it.
Yeah.
You
What
go-
about church? Were you a church person?
No, I never been at church. My dad used to go to a Seventh-day Adventist church
Uh-huh.
a long time ago. And I used to go, I didn't know what religion it was. And he used to go and he used to take me. It was in South Colton,
Uh-huh.
a church there near the Catholic church there. And he used to take us, and once in a while they used to have a big picnic in Redlands. And the people that had cars would take us over there, had a picnic. I still remember that. I was, 8, 10 years old. Then they bring us back. That was it. That's why I can remember it.
Uh-huh.
Because I never was actually a church goer until then my dad started going the other direction. So that was the end of my going to church.
Uh-huh.
So,
Were you a handball player?
what?
A handball player, rebote.
I used to play, but not very much.
Uh-huh.
Not very much. I wasn't, not very much like Chiniti and, remember Chiniti?
Chiniri,
Yeah.
Mercado, and
Mercado, they used to
also
play.
¿cómo se llama? The family, the tall family. ¿Cómo se llama, Frank? He was a custodian at the high school.
Muro? No.
No, he still works for the Cole Unified School District
Lerma?
custodian.
Lerma?
No. God, I can't remember. A lot of brothers.
Chavez?
Chavez, no,
Oh, Chavez.
married to Chavez. Mary Chavez was married to that family. They were all tall kids.
No es Raúl y
No, God, I'm stuck here.
Chavez.
Anyway, they were reboteros that they
Yeah.
played there in South Colton. And Joe worked for the school district.
Yeah, Joe.
He was a custodian at the high school,
Joe.
but I
Oh,
can't
that
remember his
guy,
last name.
Joe Chavez, and then
No, it wasn't Chavez. It was
Joe.
Felix was his brother too, Frank.
Soto?
Soto.
Oh, Joe Soto.
The
Frank
Soto family, the Soto family.
Yeah. Nena and Mary.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
Joe Soto.
Well,
So-
well, Hok Lee, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's all right.
appreciate it.
Anytime.
And I'm
anytime.
delighted that you were able to give us some information of you growing up in South Colton during that period, and some of the experiences that you went through in growing up in Colton, and then the fact that you still, Colton
live
is
there.
home to you.
Still live there. South
Colton is
Colton.
home to you.
Yeah, a lot of them Where do you live? Colton. What part of Colton? South Colton. You live in South Colton? Yeah. Why? Okay.
So they're surprised that you're still in
Surprised.
South Colton,
Yeah.
eh? Yeah.
Bother me. How could I, I mean, this is between us. They gave the house to my daughter, my wife, my brother-in-law. You can have the house. Free? And you know what? You know what I mean? Free.
Well, you're a good guy, that's why they
You're a
gave
good
it
guy.
to you.
Yeah. You can have the house. Okay, problem. Pay the taxes. That's it. And when I pass, my daughter lives there, in the apartment on the side, and when I pass by, I give it to her, or she's gonna get it, and you give it some, whatever you want, or salad or whatever. And my wife had another house that their sister gave her the house too, but it's where my son lives. My sister-in-law gave my wife her house. Yeah.
So it's a wonderful
Yeah.
place to grow up in,
Yeah, to me,
wonderful family with good relationships, and you still have those relationships intact with your family.
Yeah.
Hok Lee, you didn't meet Henry Vasquez. Henry Vasquez is also part of our committee, and Henry is over there in the corner, mira.
Oh, hi.
It's
Yeah.
Thank you.
one of his neighbors.
Yeah.
My name is Alfonso Garcia, but I know it by Hok Lee, because in the books there used to be a guy with big cheeks,
Uh-huh.
and my name stuck there, because I viene negro, I was chino, you know what I mean? And they seen my big cheeks, Hok Lee, it
It's
stuck.
like Maple.
Oh, you live on Maple?
Yeah, I used to live in Maple. And anyways, it stuck. Everybody, Uncle Hok Lee, everybody my nephew. My real name is Alfonso, nobody knows, what's your real name? I got a lot of nephews and nieces. I mean, the young ones, they don't know. Uncle Hok Lee, they call me Uncle Hok
Yeah.
So where do you live now?
Lee. On South Cove,
Yeah, but what street?
N Street, 10th and N Street, corner house. I lived there all my life. It was a gift.
10th and N?
Yeah, it's close to, it's a block south of where your grandmother's
Oh, yeah,
house was.
My grandmother, Margarita Gomez, lived at 10th and M.
Raleigh, your cousin? Raleigh and Gabby?
Yeah,
Gabby Gomez?
yeah.
Tony,
Well, no, they were uncles of mine.
Tony,
Tony.
the musician.
Yes, Tony, Gabby, Raul, Ernie.
Yeah, I know him. I used to
Yeah.
work with him. Yeah, I know him. In fact, I passed by that house in my walk in the morning.
Oh, you
I
do?
walk in the morning around the neighborhood, and I
Uh-huh.
walk certain houses. 5 times out of the week, I pass by that house. Oh, yeah.
But I live on 5th Street right now. Did you know Sotero Vasquez by any chance?
Next to Reese's liquor store.
Sotero.
Yeah.
The name sounds familiar. I know people that used to live there.
Yeah,
Sotero
well,
Vasquez.
My dad was David. His brothers were Jesus, Alfredo, Arturo, Ramon. The sisters were Lupe and Rachel. Oh, and Manuel, Barney.
Remember Jimmy Liquor Store?
Yes, the
Okay.
house next to the liquor store.
Then Danny, what's his name? Danny Raul. There used to be had a brother named Raul and Meño
Oh, Garcia?
Garcia.
Yeah, they lived on the other side.
Yeah. And then I know that Garcia, the other one lives by my son over there.
Yeah.
He's been sick, Porejito, he's been sick. But anyway, that's my cruising deal. I go cruising. I do.
Well, Hok Lee, thank you so much for being with this morning. And Henry, do you have any questions? Or Frank, do you have any questions of Hok Lee?
I was just wondering if he knew where La Católica was.
The what?
The barrio called La Católica.
Offhand, I can't remember the name, but
Okay.
whereabouts?
Well, that was that southern part of 5th Street. which is where the church was before they built the church up on Seventh and L. And so that barrio was called La Calle Cinco, but that southern part, probably, just the southern part was called La Católica because that's where the church was. But
Oh, yeah,
that was,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
when you were
yeah.
very young.
Yeah. I think I heard not the name, but somebody said the church used to be down there.
The church was almost at the corner of Aguamanza, Congress, and Fifth Street, about 2 houses north on the east side of the street.
I know the family, the Lara used to live there. Used to plant corn on the Lara. Then the little school is there. The Macias used to live on the other side.
Mhm.
And who lives in the corner? Trini Caldera used to live around there. Viscontes used to live over there too. Well, that's about it where I know.
Sosa?
Sosa used to live down there. Sosa. The Visconti family, I don't know, one of them got killed in the Second World War. Pilot. The family, the grandsons or something, they still live in that house.
Mm.
Still live in that house because I talk with them once in a while. And then you go down the street, that's where Arthur's place is. Right there.
Yes,
The
yes,
bar, the bar.
yes.
Anyway, I still remember that, yeah. I go for my little cruises there.
Well, again, we thank you so much, and it was a delight having this conversation. And
I appreciate this little conversation we had.
and then we're in the process of the Project Oakley, so when they gave us a copy of the DVD, we'll give you a copy of our conversation this morning.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being with us this morning. Thank you.